Hello again, it's Daniel. I know it's been a while since I last posted a video. I've just been dealing with life, the universe, and everything. And unfortunately, the answer is not 42. But I decided to start to do at least one video. I may do another one later on this week, I'm not sure. But for right now, I figured I'd give you, like, what this is, this particular video. It's going to be a follow-up to one I did a while ago. I'll post the link up here for it. But for those that just need a summary, a while ago I did a video about Ready Player One and about my concerns about how the film should be, about Spielberg directing the film and how I feel in order for him to direct the film and capture the 1980s feel that he needs to get back, he needed to get back to that young and hard feeling that shone through when it came to the films that he directed. Everything from Duel to up to Jurassic Park, because I mean after Schindler's List everything seems dark and bittered, even with the comedies and stuff. But that's in the other video. You can check it out in the link. So now I'm doing a follow-up. Now, a while ago I was concerned, but now my concern for that is not as great as it was before. And the reason why is this. Of course, I've seen the trailers for Ready Player One, and I've seen some of the reviews for it, and of course, the reviews are mixed bag, which is, not surprising. But I'm actually not as concerned about Spielberg capturing that young and hard feeling as I am about now. Now I'm just concerned about Ready Player One being a good film. A good film that you can go sit down, watch, and enjoy. I mean, that's my big concern now. And thanks to two different films in Spielberg's filmography, I've got a good feeling that Ready Player One is going to be, somewhat enjoyable. And the reason why, I mean, even with the changes that are made, and especially since a lot of people who are fans of the book have been up in arms about the changes made for the film. And I mean, I got a great example of how the changes that Spielberg makes to the story probably going to be good for the best. And those two examples are Jaws and Jurassic Park. Now, the reason why I feel that those two are examples is because both of them are based off of novels, and both of the screenplays for those film adaptations were co-authored by the authors that wrote the novels. Much like how Ernest Cline is the co-author of the screenplay, along with Zach Penn, the man who was the co-author who created The Last Action Hero, the story for The Last Action Hero, as well as the director for the documentary Atari Game Over. A great documentary, highly recommend it. Now, for Jaws and Jurassic Park, neither one of those films were 100% scene for scene, word for word from the book. Okay, neither one of them were. I mean, Jaws was more maybe 60-70%, because there's a lot of few changes that were made, such as, for an example, Hooper getting in an affair with Mrs. Brody. Yeah, Hooper banged Mrs. Brody in the book. And before, long before Hooper and Brody ended up going out on the Orco with Quint, and that's just one big change. Another change is that the reason why the mayors wanted to keep the beaches open isn't just because of the summer dollars. It's because of the fact that he's in debt to the mob and he needs the money. That's a detail that was excluded from the film. Another one that I can think of, a really big example, is the death of the shark and Quint and Hooper in the book being drastically different from the film. Hooper was supposed to die in the shark cage in the film, mind you, but due to a hiccup, they captured a shark getting tangled up in the rope of the model miniature of the cage, and they realized that there wasn't the miniature Hooper in there, so they changed it to where Hooper escapes from the cage and comes back up after the shark's dead in the film, for happy ending, because everyone liked Hooper. Uh, and when it comes to Quint's death is different from the film. In the film, he's just shark just jumps on the boat, bites into him, then just pulls him under the water, eats him pretty much. In the book, he spears the shark. His foot's caught on a rope. Shark takes off with the spear still in it, drags him underwater and to his death. Basically like Ahab. And of course, the shark dies in the book from its injuries. It just slows down, just sinks to the bottom and dies. Whereas in the film, Spielberg wanted to make sure that that when the shark died, he wanted to pick everyone up and standing on their feet cheering. That's exactly his words, believe it or not. And the only the only person that ever complained about anything from that film was Peter Benchley, and he only complained about the ending because of how shooting a compressed air tank doesn't cause it to explode. Now, when it comes to Jurassic Park, that's also a great example because there's a lot of Jurassic Park that was changed. One great example, the opening scene in the book was completely cut from the story of the film, and later reused as the opening for Lost World Jurassic Park. Also, there's like a whole lot of dinosaurs that were mentioned in the book that were not featured in the film. There was a bulk of the cast that was in the book that ended up dead, and I can't remember. I mean, it's been a while since I last read Jurassic Park. I can't remember if anybody got off the island or if they were trapped on the island. I think they were trapped on the island in the book, and they couldn't get out. That's a big change from the film, where everyone's seen Jurassic Park, so you pretty much understand that. Now, of course, I'm not going to give you like the full-on list on all of them, but down below I'll post these two videos from What's the Difference. It's a set of videos that's done by Cinefix, I think it was, and basically they do a comparison of a difference between the book and the film versions of certain films. Or I think they did one on Scott Pilgrim, I can't be sure. I do know they did one on Fight Club, and that pretty much showed the difference between the two. But I'll post down below in the description both the link to the Jaws and the Jurassic Park film, so that way you can see the difference between the two. And of course, like I said, Ernest Cline is involved in the book, who wrote the book, is involved with writing the screenplay. So he knew going into writing Ready Player One that there was going to be a lot that was going to change, because he was writing screenplays before he wrote Ready Player One as a novel. Now keep in mind, he has a better idea on what works for a film and what works for a book. So he knows that some of the stuff that's in the book can't translate into a film. As much as we would love to see a scene-for-scene, word-for-word adaptation, not many films can pull that off and do it well. Like I said, not many films can do that. There have been some that have done, almost scene for scene, but not exactly word for word, detail for detail, but close enough to where that it doesn't impede that it's like, to the point. It makes sure that it's not to the point where it's like, okay, they didn't even bother to try anything unique or anything like that. And of course, and there have been great examples of film adaptations that did better than that are actually improve upon what was presented in the book. Chuck Palahniuk, who did Fight Club, as I mentioned before, Chuck Palahniuk stated that the film took what he did in the book and made it better. That the film was actually better than his book. The author saying that in himself is, a big thing. Now, having the author, Ernest Cline himself, working on the screenplay, so, it's understandable some of the changes that are in some of the things featured in the film, maybe Spielberg, that those are changes in details that Cline himself may have agreed to, because of the fact he knows, no one's going to want to sit and watch a 3-minute montage of someone playing an arcade game. I mean, there's a giant difference between experiencing and observing. Experiencing is playing that arcade game, which is what we got with Ready Player One. We're not viewing it as a third person, we're viewing it from the point of view of Wade. You know, as he's playing those arcade games and going through these challenges. Whereas in the film, it's an entirely different story. I mean, it's an entirely different thing. I mean, if you were to watch Wade up on the screen playing the arcade games, yeah, that's fine for like one montage, but you can't experience it for 4 montages or anything like that. The audience can get bored really quick, so it's understandable that they change things up, change minor details, and, you know, in order to keep a certain pacing and keep the story fresh and unique. And of course, Spielberg has even stated that it's not going to be exactly like the book, but it's going to be unique enough for it to be something that will surprise the readers of the book. And so I'm willing to give the film a chance. I know a lot of die-hard purists be like, no, they changed too much, we can't do that. Well, guess what? If you don't like the film, you don't have to see it. Or if you go and watch it and you don't like it, the book's still there. Nothing's changed. You know, the text is still going to be the exact same way that you read it the first time, or the second time, or the third time, or 5th time. Honestly, you know, it's a struggle. Adapting a great story from one medium to another doesn't always work out. Sometimes it does, because they had to make the changes that are necessary. And so, I'm willing to give Ready Player One a chance. And I'm hoping to be able to see it in theaters. Hopefully, I may not be able to watch it during the premiere on Thursday, or even Friday for that matter, when it comes up next week. But I am going to go see it in the theater. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to watch it on the big screen. And then afterwards, I'll give it my judgment. But until then, you know, the only thing I can do is hope. Hopefully it'll be a good film. Who knows? It might surprise us. And that's about it for that topic.